All right, I'm excited. Today we got an all-star teacher with us, founder of the Sacred Heart Environmental Club, sponsor of Mock Trial, sponsor of Speech and Debate, middle school and high school. She teaches all them kids. Everybody give it up for Mrs. Maggie Farrell. How are you doing today, Miss Farrell?
Wonderful. So happy to be here with you.
Oh, I know there's a lot of people who are happy to see you too. How are you holding up during all this, COVID-19 business?
Staying home, staying safe. We've got our masks, we've got our hand sanitizer, Lysol galore. We're good.
Yeah, who'd have thought Mr. Clean was going to turn into a superhero in 2020?
Should have bought those stocks in Lysol, I'm telling you. Or in Bath and Body Works.
Yeah, toilet paper, Zoom. I mean, there's a couple of people who invested in those industries, and yeah, they're the happiest people on earth right now. Thinking about that's what everybody's thinking about COVID-19. Everybody's thinking about the pandemic. You founded the Sacred Heart Environmental Club. The environment's on people's minds right now. The fact that this was something that came from animals that. You hear a lot of people talking about how, maybe we're encroaching on wildlife. Like, that being very important, why was it important for you to start that club, long ago, before all this happened?
Well, the environment and conservationship is a really big part of my family's beliefs. My dad was a forester on the DeSoto Forest, the DeSoto National Forest, and has been the Forest Service for over 30 years. And so we've been brought up to, respect our environment, to truly love it, to care for it, and to be stewards. The Environmental Club at Sacred Heart is the brainchild of Lucy Mellon and Julia Camino. Those are two of my speech and debate and mock trial girls, and they are absolutely amazing. They presented their ideas and their goals and dreams for the Environmental Club for Sacred Heart. And Dr. Yanka loved the idea. She supported them, and we got the ball rolling. We've done several informational campaigns at Sacred Heart. And when we started the club, it blew up. Everybody wanted to be a part of it. Everybody wanted to help. And so many students at Sacred Heart have that same belief of being good stewards. And I think it's a wonderful tradition that is taught all from elementary all the way through high school. And so to be able to carry that on is truly amazing, especially when our students leave our schools and they become environmental stewards in their own community.
Wow, that's great. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't, I wouldn't say don't value it, but don't place that kind of importance on, trying to conserve. This is the one planet we got. So that's really special that you guys are doing that. And so cool that two students approached you.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't be more proud of them. We sat down and we would go through the calendars, and all three of ours organizing of when can we do the informational campaigns? When would be a great day to stay after school, work with the garden? Okay, how can we share with younger classes about how we're germinating seeds for our charity garden? How can we put ourselves out there? How can we be true stewards and not just in face and name and just with a t-shirt? And so we had our biggest cleanup was at the athletic complex after a football game. And man, the amount of trash that we found, and we're able to clean up. And that was to not only help our environment, but also to help our school and our athletic programs, in which we took great joy in that. And also at the elementary school, my son Liam and Ava are obsessed with cleaning. So Ava now, after we did that cleanup, which they were a part of, she would go out on the playground during recess and pick up trash if she found it, which I love.
Oh, that's great. I was like that when I was a kid. I couldn't go and play in another room until all the toys were picked up from the previous room. So I totally feel the cleaning up The cleaning up aspect of childhood was big for me as well. Yeah, and Liam and Ava, man, they're winners. I like them. They like my Elmo voice, and not everybody does, so I definitely appreciate them.
Yeah, you're not Mr. Wooten to them. You are definitely Elmo.
They got to be like, hey, why does Dad coach with Elmo?
Right?
Because your husband Barry Baza, uh, he's the head coach of the U19s at HFC. Also head coach, like incredibly successful William Carey, men's soccer coach. So it's really cool to assist him. And man, really, y'all got an all-star family. I tell you what, you're doing something right.
Thank you. We're not too shabby over here.
Not too shabby at all. Now, you spent so environmental club. You know, that's one of those things where you're probably not meeting every day about that. Speech and debate and mock trial. I mean, mock trial, from what I understand, this was one of the best years we've ever had, and it makes this whole situation that much more frustrating that these kids were one of the most talented groups that this school has ever seen. Please educate me on this.
Oh, I mean, where to begin? Mock trial, those kids blow me away every single time. Now, in the state that they've only had like 2 competitions, and so it's very different from speech and debate, where we have at least anywhere between 2 to 3 competitions a month. These mock trial students, they compete at regionals to qualify for state, and then if and when they do win state, then they move on to nationals to represent them. And the amount of work and effort that they have to put into this, it's unreal. But also the coaches, Don Hinton, Richard Weiss, and Carrie Barnaday, with the time that they allocate for these kids, just to be able to help them, to coach them, to move them forward is unbelievable. And we're so thankful for their knowledge and for their love of Sacred Heart and of our students and wanting to produce an amazing team.
So mock trial is exactly that. You're reenacting court cases, and students get to be, are they just lawyers? Or what parts do all these students play? I'm serious. You have to educate me. I don't know about this.
So all right, so mock trial, well, when we have such a love of mock trial that we have to have 2 teams, and so each team consists of 9 students. You're given a case by the whole state. Every school that wants to have a mock trial team is given the same case. You have to prepare for the prosecution as well as the defense. Our students, they prepare for attorneys as well as for witnesses. So if they were an attorney, they can be attorneys on either both sides, or they can be an attorney for one side, and then when they flip it to be the defense, then they could be a witness. And it just depends on the child, the case, and that drive. But our kids blow it away every single time with both teams.
Well, and you got a lot of all-stars on that team.
That mock trial is a heavy hitting team with the scholars that are on that team and the drive that they have, and the eloquence of when they speak. It's the majority of almost all of the mock trial teams are speech and debate students as well.
Which actually, perfect segue. Well done, because I surely those things are intertwined. The reason mock trial is so good at what they do is because speech and debate, that's an elective here. That's something they get to do every day, right?
Right. Oh my gosh, I love speech and debate so much. It's truly my passion. I've been doing speech and debate since I was 12, since I was in the 7th grade, through junior high, high school, and college, and I'm so blessed to be able to teach it and to coach it. I'm a 7th grade my middle school speech and debate team. Oh my God, like right here, the heart I have for those kids. It, I've never had a class of ask me like, okay, Miss Farrell, can we stop talking about it? Can we stop like learning about it and just do it now? We're ready to work. And I'm like, all right, let's go. And you talk about the first tournament, uh, they were hungry. They were hungry. They wanted it so bad, and they performed so well. And I couldn't be more proud. And I have to give a big shout out to Finnegan Pisoni and Catherine O'Leary. They were the 8th grade debate team, Lincoln Douglas debate team, and they went undefeated this year. My high school children, oh, my varsity, oh my gosh, those kids, I can't live without them. We spend so much time, whether it's in class, after school practicing, or on our tournament days, and our tournaments are not like any other sport. For a Friday is when you do debate, and so you're debating from probably about 4:30 until anywhere 10:30 to 12 at night. And then Saturday morning it starts up about 8, and then we normally don't get out of awards until 10 that night. And it's you have to have the emotional stamina as well as the physical stamina to get through speech and debate tournaments. But they're so much fun. It's completely addicting, especially the win. When you're competing against kids from all over the state, even at one single tournament, we'll have, anywhere between 1 and 3 tournaments a month. It's just absolutely wonderful. And my seniors this year, Ella Leak, who is a beast, and has blown me away every single time I'm even able to practice with her or when I see her compete. She's absolutely amazing. And Ellie Forsyth, who is a student coach for the middle school debate team, is invaluable asset that I have in those 2 girls. And then my juniors that are coming up, Julia Camino, Lucy Mellon, Brianna Nicholson, Channing Ware. I mean, I can literally, my kids, my babies, I love them.
That's a great group of humans, I use the word humans because we so often use we look at people through the lens of age, and I find that more and more as I get older. Well, first of all, I don't want to talk about age as much because I'm getting older, right? And that's everybody. That's literally everyone. But it's something about with kids realizing that like they're working on becoming people right now. We have certain activities. Speech and debate is an activity. It's organized. I mean, you have these tournaments. I mean, it's insane hours, travel, the competition that's involved. It's all like very immersive, but it's all for one common goal. That doesn't matter what you teach, what you coach. It's to help these people become like real people. And there's so many examples in this school of young people who are just like so far ahead of the curve, that, I mean, the names you just listed. Yeah, Ella Leak doing that video for Teacher Appreciation Week, just going like, what? Okay, that was awesome. I had no idea, and that's so great that you get to see that.
The way that I teach with my 7th graders and introducing, the aspects of speech and debate and how you go about either picking a topic or picking a piece to perform is that everything is an argument. Even though this is performance, we're still creating an argument to speak up and to be able to give that argument a voice for somebody who might have been a victim. Somebody who has seen an injustice or has even read about it, and they feel like they have that opportunity to use their own voice to fight for something that they believe in through performance. And empowering young minds like that to know that they can fight for something that they believe in, even if it's in a competition, is empowering. And for them to be able to grow up and to know that their voice matters and that their arguments matter, that is that is my biggest love of speech and debate.
Oh, and you can tell. You can tell, absolutely. Well, eh, that's what competition is for. Life is competition. You have your inner circle that's the trust tree that's nice and safe, but out in the rest of the world, you know, it's competition. You have to come correct or else, you know, who knows? I mean, you can actually do everything right, like your mock trial team this year, and it still be taken away from you. And it's not in your hands. So I think that's a great thing that you're teaching those kids. I mean, like I said, it's very obvious how much this means to you, and it's also it's not surprising that those kids speak so highly of you. It's Man, that's really cool. That's so special that you get to share that with them.
Well, I also, another really large aspect of mock trial, of speech and debate, um, is the parental involvement that has to happen. And it's parents that are coming to these tournaments with their students, and they're judging um, rounds of other kids, because without our parents being able to come and to judge and to support not only their child but the team and the school, is we wouldn't be able to host tournaments. And so the parental support that I have found since I first started at Sacred Heart, from my parents to speech and debate, I mean, I found a true family, and I'm so thankful for them, especially Lisa Forsyth. I mean, yeah, Lisa Forsyth, Lisa Leak, Bonnie Nicholson, Tonya Ware. Oh my gosh, the list can go on and on, especially with my mom's. I'm so, and my dad's, I'm so appreciative of the love that they have for us, for me, for our teams, and for especially for their children, and supporting their dreams and their goals and their activities.
Well, and that's what makes Sacred Heart special, is because if you look at anybody, I mean, really, you get down to brass tacks, it only goes as far as the parents. Teachers have you and coaches have influence, but what happens with parent-student relationship, I mean, that's where it's at, and that's what's so cool is, you have people wanting to volunteer, you have people wanting to be involved, or like, I'm gonna be involved. I hope you're okay with it. That kind of like I like that. I have the same thing with drumline, and actually a lot of my drummers are also in speech and debate. That's why I know,
Yes.
like, or if they're not in it, like they have a sibling in it, like those are some special people. So wow, that's so cool. That's really, man, Sacred Heart ain't bad, is it?
No, no, it's not. It's a wonderful place to be.
All right, so you still have to teach, like you said. School is going on. We're just not in the building. What's it like with two little Crusaders at the house? You can't ignore them. How are you juggling all this?
Oh, lots of prayer. Lots of prayer. Dear Lord, help me. um, we've had to create a schedule, between the two of them. We've got, Coach Barrel's out the house. He's working from home. William Carey's shut down, or not shut down, but the building is closed. And he goes in a couple of days a week for maintenance. But other than that, it's two kids that only want mom to teach them, because mom's the only teacher. He's just a coach. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Ooh, boom roasted.
Say that. But my two kids, they only want me to teach them. They are to look over their assignments. And the amount of the insecurities that they have about schoolwork for me is they want to make sure that they're doing it right, that they don't do it, they don't make a mistake, and because they're still trying to please their teachers, but at the same time they don't have that true physical connection of wanting to do it. And so I've had to create a schedule of time for, okay, I'm working on my schoolwork and my students in the morning. we have lunch. Okay, now my afternoon has to be devoted to my children and to their schoolwork. And sometimes it's a breeze, and we can get through it, and it's all smiles and, oh gosh, how was so much easier today than it was yesterday, because yesterday was Monday and we had all of these new concepts that we were going to get through, or new stories that we had to read in our reader's anthology. And then there are some days where it's a battle, and it's it's a battle of whose will is stronger, um, with with my kids of, oh no, you're going to do your work, you're not getting out of this, there is no pie, there is no pass, there's no, I'm going to skip class because you can't, because I'm your mom and I'm a teacher, and I'm supporting my other teachers from Sacred Heart by making sure that my kids get their work done, because your kids aren't doing their work. I mean, for teachers, even as me, I feel that that's not respecting your teachers enough, because they've taken your time to assign your lessons, to give you your work, and to be conscientious about it. And therefore, as a student, we must also be conscientious to do the work, to do it well, and to get it in. And so my kids don't have the choice, because the buck stops with me.
There you go. I love that. I mean, this definitely is. I think there's a lot of parents who are going to come out of this. You know, I think there's a lot of Jedi mind tricks happening right now. But there's going to be people who come out of this like, man, I have a newfound patience, and I think some are going to have a newfound appreciation for educators as well, because it's not easy, and it's one of those jobs where it on the outs. I mean, everything can be simplified, right? I can say Drew Brees is pretty good. All he does is throw a ball. Why does he make so much money? Well, yeah, you can simplify anything, like, well, you're just teaching kids, but now I think a lot of people are realizing how important it is to not only be invested in your child's education, but I mean, a place like Sacred Heart starts looking really attractive, because it's like, man, this isn't a game. This is serious, and we're dealing with people's lives, So it is a serious thing. So that's great that you're keeping them disciplined. Discipline equals freedom. That's a old Jocko Willink saying. But wow, yeah.
The emotional toil that this has taken on not just my children, but of all children, and whether they're our students at Sacred Heart or not, it's heartbreaking. Ava's lashed out and said, coronavirus is ruining my life because we can't have birthday parties. Liam crying because he doesn't get to see his friends, or he doesn't feel like he'll ever see his friends again. And the only people that they're able to see is, my husband and me. And it's so hard to be a mom and to tell your kids that it's going to be okay, because we're not in control, like you said before. And to teach them peace, or how to find peace in a time of that security has been ripped from them. I think for me, that's the hardest part of being a mom right now. And aside from being a teacher, is that we had to change up our bedtime routines. Is we pray as a family either in one of the kids' rooms, and we go through the list, and then after our prayer time, we all have to name something that happened this day that's been positive, something that's happened today that's been negative. What are we looking forward to tomorrow? And there's what to cook. What does mommy need to cook tomorrow? And what are we going to dream about? What are we going to fall asleep thinking about? And these are all things to push them through, to continue to find that silver lining, to continue to find that hope, what they appreciate, what they're thankful for. And that's had a really big impact on my husband and I, and of always finding the silver lining.
Absolutely. I think that's thank you for sharing that, because there so many people are dealing with that, and this is one of those things I think where you can find comfort. If you didn't think of yourself as a global citizen before, now more than ever, we're all. It doesn't matter where you were born, doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what you look like, last name, bank account. It does not matter. Everyone is dealing with this. No one is exempt from it. So it's one of those. I personally have found that comforting. And I've noticed too, even small things seem difficult. Getting into a Zoom meeting, which relative to what we do normally, is not like I could do that in the car. I could do that. I mean, I know you're not supposed to look at your phone, but I could have it on. All right. Don't at me. Right. Yeah, I could have it on. Right. I could have it on and it's not a big deal. But right now, small things seem difficult. And I think it's important for students and parents and everybody to understand that we're all feeling that. This whole, I think traditionally people, they try to keep things to themselves. Our students, that generation, is definitely more about sharing. And I think it's important that they continue to share that, look, we are all dealing with it. We're just looking through a different lens. I don't have kids, so I'm not having to do the same things you're doing, but we're still dealing with the same situation. Like this interview is through Zoom, not in person. When normally you would have a regular school day, it'd be crazy because spring is crazy like that. I've never missed the just absolute insanity of hundreds of kids in the same building when with a 90 degree plus high for the day, and then you're trying to teach them stuff out of books. It's wild. It's bananas. And when you're in it, you're like, oh my gosh, where is summer? But now, man, I wish I was stressed out like that. I miss that stress because this new stress is weird, and I can't, Zooms, you can't. If you have a big class, a group, you don't know who's looking at you. The anxiety, I think adults are starting to understand the anxiety kids get from social media. It's never off. Work is on for indefinitely, So it's one of those, setting boundaries and a schedule is so vital, and that's great that you guys have done that. I think that's so cool. All right. Well, I feel like this was a great therapy session.
It was. It's weird, adult conversation besides, Baz.
Baza, love that guy. Give him my best for sure.
You were talking about being a global citizen. He's from Ireland, and so we're constantly talking to our in-laws there. And in Ireland, they're cocooning.
Is that like the movie?
No. But Mary and Patty, we've stayed in contact even so much more, and it's one thing that Baz and I were laughing at is we spend so much more time together, and it honestly feels like our relationship is so much healthier because of that. We laugh so much more. We play so much more, with the kids, with each other, and then being able to have that continuous conversation with our families that that aren't at home, and Mary and Patty that are cocooning. I think that is another big silver lining of how much we need communication. We need to be able to stay in touch with people that we love, even though we can't physically see them unless, we're hopping on a plane to, go over there, or even, going to Laurel and seeing my family, but just continuously reaching out. Never stop checking, never stop talking, never stop. It means so much to so many people, and you never truly appreciate it until it's gone. Like us as teachers, we couldn't wait for summer during the school year, like you were saying in spring, But we had that knowledge that, okay, it's only a few weeks, we're going to come back. And just having that rip from you of not having, all of my eighth graders, and not being able to hug them, not being able to, give them a high five, a fist bump. It's crazy.
Well, I think the world seems smaller now, and that can seem claustrophobic because everyone's in the house. That's a normal feeling. I'm trying to think of the positives, though. Reaching out to your in-laws. Oh, we could have been Zooming this whole time. I'm realizing I actually Zoomed with some old college soccer teammates and going, we could have been doing this whole time. Watching the Premier League together on Zoom, talking trash other than, via text. That would have just been fun. I think that's what's really going to come out of this is like, man, it's so, we're not too busy, and that's the hard part is lots of people love saying, oh, I'm just so busy. That's not an excuse anymore. You can't do that. And I really hope coming out of this, that it stays that way. Right?
Absolutely.
So is there anything you want to say to your students? You want to give them a shout out? Any messages for them?
Hey guys. I love you so much. I miss you with my whole heart. The first time I saw you all on Zoom, I cried. And I cannot wait to be with you again. I'm getting teary-eyed. I can't do it.
You're doing great, Miss Farrell. You're doing great. I know they miss you too. I know they feel the same way. I know it's very special for them to be able to see you being honest, And I thanks so much for sitting down and taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. Give the family my best. Tell Baz I said what's up. And y'all stay safe and be well.
Thanks. You too. I know Baz said he was gonna bomb my Zoom, but he didn't. It's all right. I'll get him.
It's all right. Bazza, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Thanks, Maggie. You have a great rest of your day.
No problem. Bye, Drew. Good job. And thank you so much for doing this. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Scott, the percussion teacher and soccer coach. You're like a little media aficionado.
I sure do love attention. That was great, man.